Hey, I gotta say, man, Cousin Nick, I'm looking at the YouTube. He's through the Zoom right now, cracking up. And that intro gets funnier and funnier. It ages like a fine wine. And when the Oubre went, I'm not answering your questions, I'm like, I kind of know where Cousin Nick is right there. It's nothing like being checked by an NBA player. It's nothing like being checked by a pro. See, Nick,
you talking to me?
Yeah, Nick, we got something in common.
Let's start there. Nick, when you saw Draymond Green check Vontae on live television, and he said this exact thing.
You talking to me? It's always fun game.
What did you go through your head? That was unreal television.
Well, first, just hearing those moments, like the Oubre thing, never gets never gets boring. All these years later, every time it is classic. But Joe, when I heard that with me and Draymond, I was like, people always are ready to write off local radio. Everybody listens, especially when you play for or you work for one of these teams. There is so much value still in the day-to-day conversation in a local market. But yeah, I mean, it's always great hearing y'all's voices, but to hear the intro and see everybody's face.
Real quick, somebody tweeted in real time. I did see the Twitter when all that was happening. Somebody just said, imagine Draymond Green being suspended, and he's listening and watching all the shows, and he's listening to 95-7 game, angry. Now, a lot of people blame Shasky for me getting reamed. I took the bullet for Shasky, man, taking the bullet for Matt Steinman and everybody. But we've all been there, Nick. Heck, we've been there with Kyrie Irving, and that's why I wanted to bring you on, because Kyrie, look, a couple years ago, I was like, man, what the hell is going on with this guy? He's going to be out the league in a couple years, and now you see him on this platform.
Unreal.
I can't believe the transformation and the maturity. Maybe it has a lot to do with Jason Kidd. Maybe it's where he's at in his life. But how impressed are you, if not, because you went back and forth with Kyrie during that heyday with the Brooklyn Nets, Nick?
The craziest part in the moment is listening to all the different people I still talk to in Dallas and seeing kind of the inner workings, how much he's beloved. And the younger guys in Brooklyn, they always loved Kyrie. It was like the front office and some of the veterans who were like, oh, are you kidding me? We're doing this again? But as far as the conversation with Kyrie goes, nobody ever questioned just how talented he still was. Mm-hmm. The dude is an incredible basketball player. The problem was always that there was so much of a distraction off the floor, it was taking away from what he did on the floor, and he was taken away from what that team was able to accomplish. It's not to say it was all his fault for the way that thing imploded, because there are a lot of reasons why. But as I watch him now, I'm not surprised at the level that he's playing at. That was always there. I am surprised, given how things ended in Brooklyn, just how well he has fit in. And, guys, I throw this in the context of the conversation about Kyrie. It's a reminder in the NBA that sometimes you just need patience. Because look back, rewind from a year ago. Luka and Kyrie, that's not going to work. They're tanking out of the play-in. Nobody knew what was going on with that team. Oh, my gosh, what are they doing? Mm-hmm. And now all of a sudden they're 3 games away from a finals appearance. So the talent was always there. Sometimes you need the talent and the belief that it can still work. Dallas has it, and it's a credit to the team that they built.
Well, Shasky, real quick, not to cut you off, but I wonder if Kyrie would still offer to give Nick a ride home, coming from Barclays Center or from American Airlines Center. Remember that?
I do. It's one of my all-time favorite moments. Physically, he looks great. He looks like he has dedicated himself to the sport over the last few years. And to the same thing that you're saying, me and B were saying, it's just been so quiet. There's been nothing. And that's a testament to fitting in and all that. As you watch these Final Four games, these Final Four teams, excuse me, how far away are the Warriors currently? Because I feel like there are some people, there were just a couple I feel like they're multiple moves away. I mean, they feel really far away, quite frankly, for me.
Joe, I couldn't agree with you more. And it's sad because you think, all right, Steph's still there, and that's always what everybody clings to. I still feel the same way. When you have Steph at that level, anything is possible. It's true to a point. The reality is the talent just doesn't match up. The talent that we saw a few years ago with the bonus title, certainly you guys saw it more with that run when everybody was together. It was incredible. When you see the roster right now and you have the uncertainty of what's going to happen with Clay, what's going to happen with Wiggins and his contract, you can tie your hope around Podziemski and TJD, and we all agree they're going to get better. They've developed nicely in that first year. I just don't see the pieces that get the Warriors back to the top again. I say that as somebody who sat with the two of y'all a few years ago and said, I don't think that they can win another title. They did. I mean, they
title.
Yeah, why do you call it the bonus title?
Hey, Nick,
I hate when you do that.
You say it to happen ever.
Hey, Nick, you say it with a smile on the face, and it's one of the more disrespectful things I've ever heard.
Twisting the knife on
it's
me.
the saying when you guys got your bonus titles, like, damn,
It drives
now
me
it's
nuts.
3 titles. Oh yeah, we got the bonus one on the side. It makes it feel something. I love you too
Thanks
much, Nick, to hate you for that
participating,
comment.
Warriors. Here's that fourth title.
I wanted to go in on Nick on that statement. I said, I just can't. His cousin Nick, man, I can't do it.
But you know what? I mean, B, the reality with that title is it's not just me and it's not just some of the fan base that were like, well, what is happening? It's people in the organization.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be one thing if it were like, oh, man, the Warriors can't do it. They're too old. The pieces aren't there anymore. People in the organization, that I know, we're like, what is happening?
Nick, to your point, we had Ron Adams on the day after they won that championship. I'll never forget Ron Adams saying, quite frankly, I feel like we overachieved this season. So to your point, there were some people. Remember Ron Adams told us that, Shasky? He said, I feel like we overachieved this year. So, yeah, they didn't really see the great start. They didn't see the championship there. But it does feel like, so what do you think? Stephen A. Smith joined us yesterday on Willard and Dibs at 95.7 The Game and saying that Steph needs Draymond to win. Steph needs Draymond to win. Can the Warriors rebuild around Steph and Draymond? Because it sounds like he's not going anywhere on this roster. Can they rebuild around those two guys in their mid-30s? I guess that's to Shasky's point. It does feel like they're far away, but can they at least build around them to have a glimmer of hope to get back into contention?
I think so, B. I mean, when you have two guys that are still playing at that level, especially Steph, you're always going to have a chance. The difference is that Steph's just at a different stage of his career. I mean, Draymond, when he was on the floor, was still great, but we know the reasons why he wasn't on the floor. There are just too many questions. And when you see a Western Conference that feels deeper up top than it has in a few years, and we see Minnesota and Dallas now, Denver's still going to be there. Jokic is still awesome. You just wonder if you can get from 10 all the way back up to the top. And, guys, this is the problem. I mean, in this regard, I always defend the Warriors for being a victim of their own success. It's not about if you're the Warriors getting back to the second round. Nobody really cares. Like, all right, we built around Steph and Draymond, and we made some nice moves, and Kuminga continues to come along, and the younger pieces are coming into place. Great. But if you get bounced in the second round, people are going to be like, it's the Warriors. We expect championships. They expect championships. So do I think it is completely out of the question for them to rise again and brush off what's happened in the last couple of years? No. Again, when you have Steph, you always have a shot. I just think that shot is so small, especially given the contracts that are now in place across the board.
Yeah, Nick, it's just, I don't know. We have to just wait till like the Klay Thompson thing figures itself out in free agency, and then all these moves are all going to start happening in rapid succession. So that being said, like we've obviously got a really compelling matchup on one side where they're fighting for the legacy of the league, at least the next face of it, in Anthony Edwards and Kyrie and Luka. And then you got, it feels like the Celtics, as of today, are going to go to the finals. We'll see what ends up happening there. So let's put the NBA to the side. I need you to settle a debate for me. Bonte is full of cap right now, okay? The head is so big, he's got like the Brian Robinson size hat on his head, all right? He says he didn't know who Olivia Dunn is. Now, as a great sportsman,
Oh, B.
I did. No, listen, man.
as a great sportsman, no, your turn is next. As a great sportsman, I know that you follow these things. So listen to the sound yesterday. A young kid, probably 11, 12 years old, with a fake mustache, was on the Pirates broadcast.
Hold on. I know why cousin Nick. Now, I'm not going to get into his relationship life, but it was a couple years ago we were trying to set him up on Tinder dates.
Chill out.
So, of course, he's going to know who Olivia Dunn is. Nick is scrolling through. I want to see what his algorithm. I want to see his Instagram algorithm.
Allow that. All right, play the sound. And Nick, this guy says he didn't know who this was.
Okay, good, but I have to ask you, what's your favorite thing about Mr. Paul Skeens? His mustache and Livy Dunn.
Come on, Nick. That is a golden soundbite.
Nick, I'm just not thirsty like Shasky. That's all.
It's current. Nick, defend me.
B, I love you. You got to know who Livy Dunn is. I mean, even if the relationships are going great, and we got baby Taz running around, and you don't have as much time to be on the phone. Livy Dunn has crossed over into a different sphere, I guess, in this case. So yeah, that is surprising. That name did not ring a bell somewhere.
Well, I know who it is now because Shasky for the last 2 days keeps talking about Livy Dunn.
Well, now he's never going to let you forget it.
No, I know. He's not going to let me forget about a few things here. Livy Dunn. Real quick, let's get back to basketball for just a second before we get you on. If we got two more, we got actually another pressing question. You know what? I'm going to ask you right now. So these guys have brought up, being in the swimming pool.
Well, because I'm going to put LJ into the pool. He's going to put LJ into the
this
pool.
Weekend. And for some reason, our boy Spadone, Joe Spadoni, who's struggling right now, trying to figure out whether or not J.J. Redick's going to coach the Lakers, is saying, it's okay to pee in the pool. And you know what? I'm kind of with them because there's a process of going to the restroom when you're deep in the swimming pool. And it's like, you know what? You just sometimes got to let loose.
A lot of chlorine, Nick. A lot of chlorine to clean it up. A
lot of chlorine to clean it up. So, cousin Nick, I know you've done it before down in Orlando where it's nice. A lot of pools in the backyards in Orlando. It's nice. And sometimes you're like, I got to go. But if I get out the pool, I got to get a towel to dry off so I don't get sick.
A lot of pools, Nick. So many. Tremendous pools.
Go inside. You may have to stop and talk to somebody, and then it's going to be like 30 minutes until you go back to the pool. So sometimes you eliminate a 30-minute process and say 45 seconds.
What are you doing? It does not take 30 minutes.
I just want to tell you all again how much I miss you. because I feel like I'm sitting right there with y'all. We're having these conversations that everybody can relate to. Yes, Orlando is the home of a lot of swimming pools. I'm thinking back to, there was a Wet n Wild there. This is this old water park that when we moved, I was like, this place is unbelievable. At 8 years old, I was peeing in the pool. At 40, when you smell the chlorine, you realize that it is zapped with that much chlorine because so many people are peeing in the pool. so no, my days of peeing in the pool are over. I get up, I walk to the bathroom, make sure you have your flip-flops on because you don't want any of the stuff that is on the bottom there.
That's
you go pee, and then you go back to enjoying your day.
I'm totally with you. All right, Nick, on this last one, Bronny, all right? Not LeBron, LeBron's son, Bronny. I feel bad for the guy on some level, right? Like, because we're breaking down an 18-year-old kid, 19-year-old kid here, right? And he's still a kid. To me, he's still a kid. But I admit it, and I'll raise my hand. He's one of the few prospects I actually know and care about. So I am intrigued as to where he's going. Now, did LeBron set him up with this, with all the hype and all? Absolutely, there's no doubt about it. And there's a whole separate father conversation or parenting conversation about hyping your own kids up. But I care about where he goes. Do you care about where he goes?
I understand why people do, Joe. And the reason they do is because it's a story. They're connected to LeBron. They've heard about Bronny for a lot of years now. And to exactly your point, I know you guys have talked about it. Nobody knows who the hell these guys are in this draft. You don't know who they are. Dalton Connect isn't going to have some huge following of people that are going, oh, man, we got to know what's going to happen.
Unless you're Max Steinmetz.
Yeah, Steiny probably loves Connect.
Oh, he loves him. He does. He does. That's the only reason why I know him.
Friedell,
That's the only reason why I know him.
I swear to God, he loves Connect. And he texts me all the time.
I just want to know how many people in the world know Dalton Connect and don't know Livy Dunn.
Seriously.
Me right here. I'm guilty.
I'm guilty.
That is way out there. But I would say this. People want to see what's happening with Bronny because LeBron's popularity is that far-reaching. Everybody has lived the LeBron experience for 2+ decades now, and they know all about Bronny. And in large part, it is because it is such a weak draft. So I understand why the push is there. But I would say this, guys, anecdotally, in my travels of the last year or so, I went to Tucson. I saw a game at McHale at Arizona, and they were playing USC. They were playing Bronny. And I'm watching him, and I'm like, he's a nice player, but I'm texting some of my buddies in the league. I'm like, he is close to ready.
That's what
that
I
game
said.
was like in January, so maybe he's improved. He's got plenty of time. He's still very young. He's going to put in the work. But as far as like some kind of difference maker at the NBA level, I don't see it at all.
Yeah.
But the reason we're hearing so much about it is because so many people are drawn to the story. You and I have talked about this, the three of us, for so many years. When you start seeing, and for so many years in the NBA, it was Warriors, Lakers, and still is. When you've seen the narrative and the stories get pushed, there's a reason why.
Yep.
Because there is interest around it. There are clicks. People are into the segments on television. There's a reason why the names always come to the top. It's the same reason why, frankly, and we've talked about all these guys now, but it's why I think the NBA is in for a little slide here when LeBron and Steph finally go. Because so many people have been so wrapped up in the storylines for so long. It's not to say a guy like Ant Edwards can't come in and be a face and people can get acquainted with his game. It's just that for so long, those two guys have set the tone. Bronny, the hope was that he could kind of take some of that popularity and ride off of his dad's coattails. Sadly, I think for the league and for him right now, I just don't think he's good enough.
I do believe, like, when I just talk to random people, parents and things out there, friends, family, Ant Edwards does resonate. The few times people watch him, they're like, oh, he reminds me of something that I used to like in the 90s.
Right.
He reminds me of the 80s, just in his approach on both ends of the floor and the style of play. I don't know. There's a lot. He's not there yet. I'm not even trying to say that, but I could see him being someone that draws a lot of the old school fans back in.
And Jason Tatum does it, which is surprising to me. He's a little more quiet. And Jason Tatum has been accomplished. He lives in the conference finals. Probably going to be in the NBA finals. I guess that's the difference, right? Anthony Edwards a little more outgoing. Jason Tatum more on the quiet side because Tatum game speaks loud, Nick.
Guys, we could give a dissertation in a college class about this topic alone. It's fascinating because Tatum's awesome, B, to exactly your point. But Joe, the reason people are drawn to Ant Edwards isn't just because he can drop 30 in a big game. It's because they like his personality.
Yep.
They like what he brings. It's different. They grew up, all these NBA fans, all these fans that aren't into basketball at all. They followed LeBron and they followed Steph for more than just, hey, they can score a lot of points and their team wins. In order to be the face of the league or a future face of the league, it needs to go well beyond how you play on the floor. And it's not to say that Tatum is an unbelievable player. Hell, Boston may win the title this year. We'll see. But people are interested in what Anthony Edwards is doing day to day. Right. And if he's going to continue on this trend and they're going to win, then maybe the conversation starts. But I laugh when I see people say, oh, this guy's the next face or that guy's the next face. No, like the face of the league means that every day people are into what that person is doing on every level. It's why LeBron and Steph have been so successful with all the promotions that they've gotten through all the years, because people and their personalities have resonated all over the place. And we'll see if that happens with anybody in this next class. But as far as Tatum and Ant Edwards are concerned, one guy has a personality that he's shown a lot publicly, and one guy does not.
And it's crazy. Anthony Edwards, as we're speaking about him, The NBA fans just voted for him. He had the dunk of the year, block of the year, and the photo of the year. The photo of him dunking all over John College. He just won those 3 awards. That was voted on by NBA fans. Real quick before we let you go, Nick, who's winning it all? 30 seconds or less. Who you got winning the championship as we're in the conference finals right now? I thought it was Minnesota, and then I looked at game one and said, the 2 best players on the floor is Kyrie and Luka. They don't have an answer for that. So are you switching towards the Mavericks? Do you still believe in Boston? Who you got winning this championship, Nick?
A week ago, I still would have said Denver, so it shows where I was at because they just folded over in Game 7 there. I'd go with Boston, though. If they can't get it done this time, I don't know when it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Their path has been so much easier and smoother to this point. You'd think they'd get by the Pacers without much of a push. They've been ready. They just haven't put it all together. I think now is the time for them.
All right, Cousin Nick.
Love you, pal. I miss you.
Man. Have a great weekend, man. We'll see you soon, man. Hey, peeing in the pool saves you a lot of time. May save you 30 minutes, Cousin Nick. You didn't hear it from me. That was Spinoni. I'm throwing him under the bus, Cousin Nick.
Love you, Nick.
Love you, Nick. He's talking silly.
Now, what's in there?
What's in there? Yeah. Let's gang up the phone. We're trying to get you hot NBA insider. Get off the phone, Nick. I don't want to get you in trouble, man. We're talking Olivia Dunne and peeing in the pool. What Dunne? Excuse me, Dunne.
Dude. Olivia Dunne is a person.
See, I don't even know who she is. My algorithms just looks at sports. I'm locked in on Disney movies and sports. Not Olivia Dunne. All right?
See you, bud.
Get out of here, Nick.